Fox News host Tucker Carlson continues to tell us that he's not an anti-vaxxer. He's said on his show many times lately, I am not an anti-vaxxer. But yesterday on his program, he did a very anti-vaxxer thing, which is under the guise of I'm just asking questions. And some people are getting in trouble for asking these questions. He set up a segment about vaccines basically the same way that anti-vaxxers do. And Tucker Carlson apparently hasn't heard of Google or medical studies. Check this out.
So all of this should prompt some pretty tough questions for our public health experts in this country. And one of those questions is, how effective is this coronavirus vaccine? How necessary is it to take the vaccine? Don't dismiss those questions from anti-vaxxers. Don't kick people off social media for asking them. Answer the questions.
So the questions that Tucker thinks people are getting in trouble for asking are questions that have been, number one, discussed and debated and studied for a year. And number two, about which endless peer-reviewed data is available with a simple Google search. For his first question was, how effective are the vaccines? We know how effective they are. The Moderna vaccine is 94% effective with a 95% confidence interval after 2 doses at preventing illness, and it is virtually 100% effective at preventing severe COVID. The Pfizer vaccine is 95% effective with a 95% confidence interval and is 89% effective at preventing serious COVID. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is 72% effective, but it was, remember, tested later on the current variants, and probably if you tested the Moderna and Pfizer against the variants, you would see similar numbers. Those were tested earlier when there were fewer variants around. And again, the J&J also 100% effective at preventing serious COVID. And then the AstraZeneca vaccine being rolled out in some countries is 70% effective and 100% effective at preventing serious COVID. We know how effective they are. We also know how safe they are. The rate of anaphylactic reactions, serious allergic reactions, is about 0.025% with everyone that experienced an anaphylactic reaction recovering. And 98% of vaccine recipients have no allergic reaction at all. Remember that fever is not an allergic reaction. That is the vaccine working. We're talking about actual allergies here. So we have these answers. We know the data. No one's getting in trouble for asking how effective is the vaccine. That's a great question because the answer is such a positive one, and a knowable answer. Now, how important is it to take the vaccine? That's also a fine question to ask. The problem is that too many people aren't smart enough to understand the answer and to realize what herd immunity is, and that your personal risk level is not the only factor in determining whether you should or shouldn't get vaccinated. Now, I don't think Tucker is an anti-vaxxer. And in fact, my guess is that if he hasn't been vaccinated already, he and his family all are going to get the vaccine as soon as they can. I think this is the show that Tucker is putting on because it plays well with his audience. I wouldn't, again, he might already even be vaccinated. Tucker is asking questions that others get in trouble for asking, but we actually have the answers and no one is getting in trouble for asking those questions. People are getting in trouble, so-called, when they spread nonsense like the vaccine isn't a vaccine, but a DNA modifier, or the vaccine is microchipped, or they're planning to roll out forced vaccinations, or whatever the case may be. The questions the questions being asked by Tucker are basic scientific empirical questions, and that's that. But if his audience doesn't realize there are such clear answers to those questions, then this segment works. And that's what you have to understand. Remember that when Tucker was sued, one of the defenses that Fox News lawyers put out there was that his program is entertainment and he regularly uses hyperbole and other tools of rhetoric and entertainment, not of news reporting, to make the show interesting. And viewers should understand that. And of course, I understand that. I know many of you understand that Tucker's show is not a news show, but an entertainment show. But a lot of the Fox News audience doesn't. And in fact, Fox News has made a killing blurring the lines between what is news and what is opinion, And one way that they famously, in media studies, this is a notorious thing that Fox News does, they will take their opinion hosts' opinions and then they will report on them during the news hours and say, breaking, Tucker Carlson asks, why are people getting in trouble for asking how effective the vaccine is? That's how they deliberately and further blur the lines between news and opinion. And I know many of you know this, but much of the Fox News audience doesn't. And that's why this works. That's why this does well. And Tucker, for all I know, Tucker's vaccinated and he's asking these questions merely as a ploy for ratings and generating interest. And in fact, this wasn't the only crazy thing that happened on Fox News in the last 24 hours. I want to talk about some of the others. You may not have known this, but when you see me sitting here on the show, I am often wearing shirts by a company called Teddy Stratford. I asked them to be a sponsor because they are by far my favorite shirts that I own. With almost all other slim fit button-up shirts I've worn, you get this annoying stretched out gap in the chest where the buttons are, which does not look good. But what makes Teddy Stratford shirts unique is this patented zipper that's hidden underneath the buttons, which actually prevents the chest from looking weird and stretched out like that. It looks really good. And just all around, they cut the entire shirt in a specific way that makes your upper body look a lot better. It's just a much nicer and more stylish fit than you get from other shirts. And they hand make everything with 100% Egyptian cotton and flat felled seams, which means it's going to be a lot more durable than other shirts and last a lot longer, which I really love. Go check them out at davidpakman.com/Teddy. The link is down below and they'll give you 15% off your first order if you use the coupon code Pakman at checkout.